Nick Andros is back with another banger. Mutahar has replied, or really gaslit everybody. But anyway, this wasn't Putahar's first time. Shout out to Nick Andros. Check his channel out if you haven't. Let's go ahead and give him a like, and let's get into it.
Welcome. I'm Nick Andros.
Thanks.
You may have seen my previous video. Mutahar's been a fake engineer for 10 years.
We did.
The video's been way more successful than I ever expected. I assumed it would simmer in the background for a month before I released my big video, but it blew up instantly, and Mutahar has responded. In the video, I exposed Mutahar for giving inconsistent statements about his educational background and qualifications. Did he go to university for computer engineering or computer science? Did he drop out after a semester, or does he leave it open to leave his audience to conclude he graduated? Sometimes he'll talk about STEM degrees while claiming to be an engineer and therefore biased in favor of them, despite the fact that he has no such degree.
Is it bad if you don't get a STEM degree? Look, I'm gonna sound biased as fuck, but STEM degrees all the way. I'm gonna sound biased because, you know, as an engineer, like, you know, you
As an engineer,
get you a job, you know, a good job. Not saying other degrees can't, but like, you gotta be smart.
If he wasn't trying to be deceptive, why didn't he say, I don't have a degree, but I'm still an engineer? By the way, it does seem to be the case that merely holding yourself out to the public as an engineer is a violation of the law in Ontario where Mutahar lives. As Professional Engineers Ontario, a self-regulatory body, not a random engineer labor union, has fined a politician in 2016 for introducing himself as an engineer on television.
Majid. I'm noticing some similarities here. Yeah, apparently engineers, at least in Canada, have like this ring that they all wear called the iron ring that they wear to remind themselves not to take shortcuts, not to bullshit the public. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that Muta didn't like get a fake iron ring to be like, I got this ring, you know. I don't know, man.
When he wasn't a licensed engineer. Do note that this person used to be a fully licensed engineer, degree-holding professional engineer, but because he was no longer licensed, he lost the right to call himself an engineer. There is no jail time for breaking this law, only a...
Yeah, you're out of the club. So, let's see, every person who is not a holder of the license is guilty of an offense and on conviction is liable for the first offense to a fine of not more than $10,000 and for each subsequent offense to a fine of not more than $25,000. So if Mutahar gets charged for each one, I mean, to be honest, dude, that's like his whole net worth. You know what I mean? Like however much he was making off his job on YouTube, you know what I mean? Which some would say it's not his job, you know what I mean? But yeah, dude, that's fucking crazy.
A fine if you refuse to cease misusing this protected title. Despite admitting at points that he was a former engineer, that he was a dropout, Mutahar was introducing himself as an engineer as recently as June of 2025.
I feel like a doctor trying to explain like how fucking medical procedures work as an engineer, telling people that AI is like...
And at times, he leaned on these credentials.
You know what's funny is like I have songs where like you know, like Kevin Gates has a verse on it, Freeway, Sir Michael Rocks, you know, I have these songs that like big artists or bigger artists than myself have rapped on, you know what I mean? And what's really interesting is that I don't like blow those up to be more than they are, because it's like, I mean, I'd be a liar if I said, oh yeah, these are placements, bro, you know, because that's not the case. You know what I mean? It's not a placement. I didn't necessarily work with these guys. It was more so I produced for, you know, a local artist or an underground artist, and they got them on that song. So, yeah, like, I don't know. use that to like sell shit to people, you know what I mean? I don't have it anywhere in my profiles. Oh, produced for Kevin Gates, you know what I mean? Produced for this guy or that guy, because it's bullshit, dude. It's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know how someone can do this for so long. You know, my theory is that like he told his family he's an engineer and he's making, you know, money off YouTube that's sort of comparable to an actual engineer, but he kind of had to keep the lie going on in his videos, just in case anyone from his family watched his videos and was like, wait, he never talks about being an engineer, you know?
To sound more authoritative. I also constructed a timeline which demonstrated that Mutahar has been a former engineer for a decade. He was getting a videography diploma, he worked as a video editor, but in 2019 he began calling himself not just an engineer, but a computer engineer.
You know, I've never like seen an actual edited Mutahar video.
Note that he has never called himself a software engineer. A computer engineer isn't some Canadian English version of a software engineer. It's a much more hardware development focused engineering discipline, closer to electrical engineering. Mutahar does not display this kind of knowledge or skill in his content. It took him months to switch the batteries on his fucking smoke detector. He's been calling himself a computer engineer for a decade because of computer work he did in high school. He claims to have done penetration testing, that he's a cybersecurity expert, that he does network security, and that
I'm sure he has done penetration testing.
He was coding bank applications as a high schooler. He claimed he would have made a lot of money in these fields, but also that it was a dead-end job. Is there any proof that these jobs were ever real? Is there proof that his globe-trotting video engineer career was real?
No.
I don't know. According to further research by Harmful Opinions, Mutahar called his work blue-collar computer programming before he switched to calling it engineering in 2015. And that term stuck with him for 10 years, misleading millions of people into perceiving him as far more qualified and educated than he was. Others have pointed out that he used his credibility to smear Mama Max as having possessed child sexual abuse material, bestiality, or animal abuse videos.
The video that you would have to be hashed by the FBI or any of these agencies as actual child porn. And it would...
No, it wouldn't. I don't know where he's saying this. He literally just read a Reddit post.
There was no proof of this. The only reason he was believed was because he was perceived to have these high credentials. Mutahar's initial response to my video was to ban the word engineer from his comments. When that didn't succeed, he stopped uploading for a week and went quiet on social media.
So at this point, you know, we're about like a week into not crapping, right?
He did private a video which Harmful Opinions covered.
Yo, yeah, basically, dude, you didn't ship for a whole week, bro.
In one of his videos, and he wiped an entire channel of podcasts he used to do with his friends, meaning that he was following this quite closely behind the scenes. Now he's back, and he's made a 2-minute response buried 3 minutes into a random 32-minute video.
Well, you gotta dig for the gold, you know what I mean? You gotta be patient to get, you know, to get the fish on the hook and shit like that, you know what I mean? And look, dude, this shit was barely an apology. He fucking gaslit everybody. Like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. You know what I mean? I just, you know.
Let's see it.
Now, YouTube's pretty much engineered, I would say, in their mind, it seems a pretty foolproof way of isolating kiddies from adults. Now, I use the E word over there, and I want to just start talking a little bit. I know there's been some drama, and I want to kind of address things here really quickly. So obviously, I have been calling myself a engineer, in some cases a programmer, a cybersecurity engineer, whatever you can call it. And, you know, I apparently have also been a dropout, which I don't hide.
Look, here's the thing that I said in the last video. You have to listen to what he says, because he'll talk really fast and kind of say shit that almost doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like saying, like, what did he say about being a dropout?
And, you know, I apparently have also been a dropout.
Like, that's weird, because it's like you either are or you aren't. It's not that you were, you are, you know? And, I feel like the way he, like, says certain phrases and like obviously that phrase is in it on its own is pretty innocuous and kind of doesn't really matter. But in the grand scheme of things, you just got to listen to how this guy says it, because a lot of what he says is just like double speak, like some Tony Soprano shit. You know what I mean? Like he says enough for you to believe it, but also enough, not enough so that he could, like, it's plausible deniability. You know what I mean? I hope I use that right, but that's really what it feels like. Like imagine just being in this guy's life, you know what I mean? And, or him being in your life, even worse. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man.
Which I don't hide. Now, obviously, me being...
He's clearly a liar, gaslighter, and just, I mean, I don't know, bro. Like he's pretty insufferable, bro. Like, that's really all I get from his videos these days. And I mean, for the longest time, I even said in the last video, like, dude, like, it's impossible to sit through a Mutahar video because this dude just yaps about nothing. I don't know, man. Like, it's hilarious that Nick Andros started all this, because there was a lot of other people making videos about it, which I ended up looking into, and like his video just popped off and people went crazy, bro. And it's kind of nuts, man.
A dropout, I don't know.
Because not talking shit, but Nick Andros has like 13K subs, dude. You know what I mean? Like, if you got 4 million subs, a dude with 13K subs should never be able to take you down, dude. I don't know, dude.
A degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer. Now, I made a lot of videos in the past where I've taught you guys about computer safety, cybersecurity, a lot of this stuff.
Hey guys, look, legitimately, if you've ever learned anything from Mutahar's videos as far as like coding and shit, please, this is your call to action. Leave a comment and tell me what that was, because I've said it before. I leave disoriented and confused after watching any of his videos about anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more lost after watching a Mutahar video.
And I think that content stands up on its own. And I believe it actually...
The only videos that gave me any clarity on him were like the deep web videos, because it's like, dude, I mean, we all know why you're on the fucking deep web. We know what you're looking for. We know what you're loading to your hard drives. Why else would you be on there? You know, like, it's wild.
Actually can be used, you know, and people have learned from it. And I think that's great. Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged that I called myself an engineer while not be...
I don't think anyone actually felt offended or wronged. It's funny. Like, to me, it's funny. Like, this dude's a LOLCOW to me at this point. Like, kind of has been for a while, dude. Like, because I vaguely know a few things about the Nux Taku thing and how they were buddies, and I guess he threw him under the bus. So I know a little bit about that, right? But yeah, this dude's a complete clown, dude. I don't think anyone was actually offended. I think the only people who would be actually offended are like real engineers. I think everyone else is just looking at you like you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, why would you lie about it? And I don't know, man. And it have so many tells too about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many tells in his videos when you look back that other people have brought up. And yeah, man, I can't believe, because I think in the past I've even asked, like, what does this guy do? Because it was one of those videos where he's talking about, oh, YouTube's not my job, but you got 4 million subs, dude. So, like, what do you do? And like one of his little minions in the comment, oh, he's a cyber security, you know, whatever the fuck they said.
Being a degree
so
holding
funny.
engineer, then for that I do apologize. And I will denigrate myself to, you know, I guess programmer or a fat Indian guy that knows a bit about computers. That's what I'll leave it at. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Now, again, if you want to stick around, awesome. If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then I don't really give a fuck.
We know.
Simple as that.
It's so funny.
Now, again, that being said, if anything else comes out of this...
Fucking freak, dude. Why do you need so many virtual machines? You know what I mean? Why do you have, you know?
You know, whether there be some legal stuff, then I'll just let lawyers handle it, and we'll call it at that. But that being said, I want to move forward, and that's pretty much the engineered response that I had to give.
I ended my video.
Is that a threat, Mutahar?
In a pretty melodramatic
Mutahar?
phrase. The only power I have is the one you give me when you lie. That was my awkward, cringy attempt at conveying to Mutahar in a brief and concise manner that as long as he keeps lying, all he does is hurt himself. He had the choice of telling the truth, but once again, he's misled his
Yikes.
audience about what happened. He is betting on them not knowing anything about the situation, and he's omitting massive amounts of context in an effort to mislead them. He's been, among other things, misappropriating a protected title for a decade to come across as more authoritative to his audience. He's been lying to them for 10 years.
Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged,
Every little thing, from the visuals to the word choices, is him dodging accountability and attempting to downplay it. Hey, look, I'm in on the joke. Ha ha ha. Look at these videos where I'm looking at code and computer code looking things. I must be pretty advanced. Apparently I'm a dropout without any higher education that an engineer would have. I don't know why that's relevant. He claims he doesn't hide it, but this bitch has called himself an engineer like 70
Whoa, Nick, chill, bro, chill.
times, while he's revealed himself to be a dropout like 5 times. Your audience doesn't see all of your content. If Mutahar believed that was true, he would be smart enough not to lie like this in the first place.
now I made a lot of videos in the past where I've taught you guys about computer safety, cybersecurity, a lot of this stuff, and I think that content's
Again, I think it's someone in his life that he's lied to for so long about being an engineer, like maybe his super accomplished family members, where they think he's an engineer, so he's just got to sprinkle it in there in his videos just in case they watch him.
stands up on its own. And I believe
Or maybe his lady. Maybe he lies to his lady and he's like, yeah, I'm an engineer, and he goes in his little office and just plays video games all day.
it actually can be used, you know, and people have learned from it. And I think that's great.
Who has learned from it? Who and what have they learned?
Claiming that people have learned from his content is an incredibly low bar, and not something that was
Yeah, that too, bro. Like, who gives a shit if people learned from you? You can learn from you can learn from the dustiest, most disgusting person, and you know, just because you learn something doesn't mean that you're gonna take away something that you're gonna implement. It might be something that you stay away from doing, period. Excuse me.
contested in the first place. If you like to use the brush tools in Photoshop, did you know that by holding down Alt and right-click, you can move your mouse to change the size and
Wow, I just learned something.
the hardness of your brush? Congratulations! Thousands of Photoshop users watching this video just rushed to open the software in order to try that trick. People have learned from this video, but I don't need to call myself a graphic design engineer or
Wow, dude, yeah, for sure. I hope Nick Andrews sells like a graphic design course or
someone
something.
working in TV and film to woe an audience. If I made content
That's another thing. Like, if you worked in TV and film, like, wouldn't you eventually get some kind of award for that? You know what I mean? I mean, shit, I guess I'm in TV and film. I produced a song that got, you know, its music video got an award. You know what I mean? Like, where's my prestige?
that I believed stood up on its own, I wouldn't have to inflate my credentials. So this is a nonsense statement.
Me being a dropout, I don't have a degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer.
His phrasing here implies he is still an engineer, just not a degree-holding engineer. What engineer are you then? After
It's like a, you know, like when you DoorDash and you DoorDash for McDonald's, but you don't really work for McDonald's. Maybe it's like maybe he does outsourced work, engineering work for something.
the 10 years of bragging about it in public, making it our business, you should be able to tell us, where did this come from? What are your credentials? What work have you done? You believe in open source software, you call yourself a programmer. Where's your GitHub?
Yeah.
What contributions have you made in the past 10 years? Then he
Yeah, where's your SoundCloud, bro? You
tries to guilt trip people by saying he'll denigrate himself by calling himself just a programmer or a fat Indian who knows a bit about computers. He
We already call you that, except the knows about computers thing.
could have said that he was insecure in his youth and used the word engineer without knowing it was illegal to feel better about himself. Then that claim kind of stuck around and he was too embarrassed to admit that he wasn't one. It would be so simple, but Mutahar cannot ever admit to having made a mistake, or at least take responsibility for it. What do you think makes you come across
But he looks so tired in all his videos. He's got to be doing something. He's got to be doing something. Dude.
as a likable man of character? Someone with the footing to judge others, as you have done for years.
I'm kind of the fucking aficionado of hand.
That's also the thing about it. Like a lot, like I think a bulk of the backlash does come from him being the one to like dogpile on people. Like if this is some shit that like Boogie did, or that like Wings of Redemption did, or you know, any one of those idiots, you know, he'd be the first one making videos about it. You know, maybe making the video and then deleting it real fast. You know what I mean? But he's definitely that guy. So, yeah, I think that's where most of the backlash is even coming from.
Handing out these reality checks to a lot of fans.
Is it by being a coward who lies all the time, shifts blame, and never accepts their fallibility? Or is it by being someone who takes the blame for their mistake?
You know, I kind of want to watch the Dr. K psychoanalysis of Mutahar, you know? Just knowing all this now, like, I'd like to see that just to, you know, catch him in more lies. Why not, you know?
Someone who knows their limits.
And I'm not like one of them, like, body language bros. Like, I don't really think that. But, like, you know, when people talk and they look stupid, you know, it's fun to point that shit out, you know?
And speaks the truth. Do you believe your audience is entitled to the truth about who you are? Because they will only trust you as much as you trust them. They will respect you as much as you respect them. Now they've realized you're full of shit.
I was full of shit, literally. Like, I was full of fecal matter.
And what's your response?
If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then, I don't really give a fuck. Simple as that.
This behavior is not really to your benefit at all. It benefits your critics. But it especially benefits me. Now a large chunk of your audience and the public knows you're full of shit. And it's not that hard anymore to convince them that you've done this exact thing before. Dear viewer, did you feel confused when Mutahar came out with his video denouncing Nuxtaku? Did you feel he was overreacting? That he was distancing himself from him pretty hardcore relative to his actual points of discontent? Well, that's just like what happened here. Mutahar omitted massive amounts of context, because if he told you the full truth, he would have to admit that while he was eager to attack and condemn creators like Eva Chris Tyson for being fans of a lolicon artist, or for having kids on a Discord server with porn on it, he was running cover for and defending someone who turned that into their entire content model.
Forgive me, Lord, but I did it. Please forgive me. Stop sending Gentai. Why? I already lost. No, not November. Half of my class saw Aqua's butthole on my screen. To be fair, mad respect for sending Aqua's butthole. And your class should be thankful.
That's a post from
okay, that's fucking insane, dude.
Nuxtaku's subreddit. At the time this video was made, the OP of this post was a 12-year-old child.
What the fuck, dude?
They were not a one-time poster, and they were not the only extremely young child that was involved in this community focused around adult content. There's plenty more material to cover in my bigger video, but let me tell you this. Mutahar was notified about this stuff in a confrontation almost exactly a year ago. What action did he take? Nothing. Because if the truth came out, he would look bad for being so close to Nuxtaku. This guy is sitting here telling you that the government needs to stay away from the internet. It's so horrible when people are forced to verify their age on social media. I know it's annoying. I know it's frustrating. And I know it can be used for information control, mass manipulation, censorship, blah blah blah. But I've seen what it looks like when these man-children self-regulate. What it looks like when they are holding each other accountable. And what I mean by that is that they don't. They are 100% willing to prioritize their career, income, and their ego over the safety of children on the platform. But that's a story for the bigger video. Some people have unfortunately gotten the idea that I'm going to expose Mutahar as some kind of a pedophile. That is not the case. He's not refusing to call this stuff out because he secretly condones it. He is simply just that much of a total bitch, afraid of any controversy with a chance it might stain his reputation. A worthless, spineless pushover. Somehow, his actions in this situation were even more pathetic than pretending to be different kinds of engineer for a decade.
True. It was actually kind of insane that the response was just gaslighting, bro. It was really crazy.
In the aftermath,
like, he didn't he doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? That's why anyone who defends him in the comments, like, you're a clown, dude. You're pathetic. You know.